Hello, folks. Good evening. How are you today? You're welcome to another edition of Just Banter, a very exciting one at that, for that matter. So, if you're watching this right now, I think you'd need to send messages to your friends and tell them time to tune in, time to watch what's going on. This is a very, very important topic. It affects so many Nigerians all over the world. Nigeria is the largest, or should I say, the most populous Black nation in the world, filled with super intelligent people, super industrious people, very, very important to the entire world. But before we start, I'd first like to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are out there, even the ones that are joining us tonight. Everybody probably has children or they have nephews and nieces, so they're fathers, one way or the other. And we hope that fathers will continue to play an intelligent and solid role in the lives of children all over the world. A lot of women complain about fathers and all that, but they forget that, they get most of the accolades all the time. Everything is my mother, my mother, my mother. Not so. Let's not downplay the role of fathers in what they do in society. Also, we'd like to render a very big apology for not being able to go live last week. We are beginning to find it a bit difficult to interview live guests from Nigeria because internet connection just seems to be getting worse and worse. Not that it is an indictment, on Nigeria. Technology fails here and there, even where we are, in the Western world. I'm in Dublin at the moment. The technology fails us. A lot has been happening in Nigeria in recent times. Most of it centered around the issue of governance. A lot of people have been lamenting, complaining about, the cost of living in Nigeria. Some of those things stem back as far as the Biafran War. Nigerians have always had something to complain about when it comes to Nigeria. If the North is not complaining today, the West is complaining. If the West is not complaining, South is complaining. If South is not complaining, the Southeast is complaining. But today, we are going to be talking about Biafra, the call for Biafra. Now, Biafra, officially the Republic of Biafra, was a secessionist state in West Africa that existed from May 1967 to January 1970 during the Nigerian Civil War. Its territory consisted of the eastern region of Nigeria at that time. Now, after Biafra's declaration of independence, Nigeria declared a war on the nascent state, defeating them in the Nigerian Civil War and reuniting the two states. Biafra was recognized by a few countries: Gabon, Haiti, Ivory Coast, Tanzania, Zambia, etc. Now, some of the countries that gave support to Biafra at that time were France, Spain, Portugal, and I can name a few more, including the Vatican City. But as things always happen, there must be a victor in every war. Now, at that time, the then head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, declared a no victor, no vanquished. But that no victor, no vanquished, I don't think it sufficed for most people that come from the southeast region of Nigeria, because over and over and over again, the call for Biafra keeps popping up. In 1999, on the return to democracy for Nigeria, we saw the rise of MASOB, which is the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, come up, and they started asking for Biafra all over again. Somewhere along the line, MASOB had issues and all of that. Ralph Wazirike, who then was heading the MASOB organization, was jailed. And from the ashes of MASOB rose IPOB, which is the Indigenous People of Biafra. IPOB has been very, very, very strong in agitating for the call for Biafra. Tonight, we're going to be talking to two gentlemen who have opposing views. Well, I wouldn't say opposing. I'll let you, the viewers, decide that, whether they are opposing or not. But people have their own individual opinions when it comes to certain things in life. Now, the UN Charter says that people have a right, to self-governance, to self-determination. But at the same time, that right to self-determination should not be at, a risk to the others, who they either share an association with or are doing business with, one way or the other. So we have two very intelligent, very articulate gentlemen who are on tonight, Both of them, not incidentally, are from the southeastern parts of Nigeria. One of them, his name is Ukachukwu Okorie. Ukachukwu Okorie speaks for Biafra, so to speak, for IPOB. He's been very, very consistent. He's been very, very vocal about the call for Biafra. And then we also have Douglas Ike Moore. I don't want to call the full Ike. Let me not go and make a mistake. So I'm just going to bring both of them on screen right now. Hello, Douglas. Hello, Ukachukwu. How are you?
Hello.
Now, okay. I'm not sure whose device, is causing the echo there. So I'm just going to test this very briefly by muting somebody and then test it. Yes, hello, Ukachukwu, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, loud and clear. Okay, all right. So Douglas, I think that echo is from your end. So we can try and work on that while we are talking. So now, yeah. So now, tonight we're discussing the call for Biafra, three sides of a coin. For most people think that a coin has two sides. But actually, a coin has three sides. So a coin has the first face, it has the second face, and then it has the edge. So tonight, Ukachukwu is going to be talking from one side of the coin. Douglas Ike Moore is going to be talking from the second side of the coin. Myself, I'm on the edge. So I'm just going to be listening to both gentlemen talking about the issue of Biafra. Now, I'll first start with Ukachukwu. Ukachukwu, this call for Biafra, what exactly is it about?
Thank you for having me in this your wonderful in a nutshell, Biafra is just an expression of the dignity of man, particularly the black race. And when we say this, we say it with authenticity and courage. We've seen the checkered history of the black race from the time of slavery to colonialism, the time the Europeans got into the hinterland, and the end of colonialism. We are in the era of neo-colonialism. But why do Biafra need to come on? If we can recall the meeting at the Berlin Conference, it's the partition of Africa without our consent. You can't just talk about somebody. You want to talk about his progress, his future without his consent. That is why we are wallowing today. It looks like there's no progress in Africa. Tribes, ethnic nations packed together, and they are forced, or whatever. I can't say they are encouraged to succeed. Recently, in one of our editions in Africa World newspaper, I asked this question in the article, that if you bring Ireland, for instance, Great Britain, Germany, and Spain together, or Poland together as a country, will there be peace? This is what we need to be asking about Nigeria. Nigeria is a country of more than 300 nations that are distinct in culture, in language, in ways of life, and we are being forced to live together. It wouldn't work. There will always be competition and conflict. This is the core issue of the difficulty in Africa and the conflict. That's the remote cause, but we don't look at that. So when we talk about Biafra, Biafra is all about natural kith and kin coming together. They understand themselves. They have a peculiar identity. They know how things work for them. They can move together. It's like a family where you have brothers. In as much as there are in the family, you have 5 sons. One can be a medical doctor. The other one can be a lawyer. The other one can be a carpenter. And another one, bricklayer. They may have differences in occupation and thoughts, but they share a common identity, and they can easily protect their heritage. That is what Biafra is all about. Biafra is, the march to Biafra is to restore the dignity of man, and particularly that of the black race.
Okay. Now, Douglas, Ike Moore. Douglas, we have seen the call for Biafra being a bone of contention when it comes to the Nigerian state. A lot of people have been wondering, where will this lead in terms of the fragmentation of the country? Now, to my understanding, not everybody that is from Southeast Nigeria supports the issue of fragmentation of the country, hence, the creation of the state of Biafra. Why is that so?
Yeah, thanks very much, Habib, for the opportunity to be part of this discussion. So I would say that I agree with most of the things that my brother has said here, because he's my brother by virtue of we come from the same we are Igbos, let me use that word, from the eastern, and we represent Biafra, whether quote unquote, but the problem, like if I want to answer your question, the problem is not everyone that agrees to that belief that by creating, creating a tribal nation will make you more successful. So because what you're calling for is more like a completely one tribe nation. And there are so many reasons why. Not because if it's workable, I think anything that is workable, I will support it. But one of the reasons why most of us are yet to see a strong reason to back such a tribal nation is because of some of the things we've experienced, even as Nigeria is made up of 36 states. Yeah. And out of those 36 states, you have, in the east, you have Abia, Imo, and you have Enugu and the rest of them. Within these states, the federal government, you have state governors, and you have local government chairmen. And we have not been successful. Let me say we have not been successful as in people in running, being part of such a system. The governors of, for instance, Abia State have not been able to deliver the dividends of democracy. And Abia State is not ruled by a Kanuri man or by a Fulani man. It's by an Igbo man. And we are Igbos living in Abia. We are not living under a Hausa or Fulani caliphate, as a governor. And yet we are unable to help our brothers and sisters. Even though we have the power as governors, we have almost autonomous power, and we get funds to be able to build our society, make it look, if we want to make our society look like Japan or look like even Dubai, we have that power. We can create the IPOB or Biafra ideology within those states, but nobody has been able to show that we have the will, to be able to use our capability as a people. We are very resourceful people. Everybody knows we are very hardworking, and we will go to any length. We believe in excellence, but we have not been able to see that, show. Nobody among some of the governors I've mentioned, we've not been able to prove that we can do that. So it's difficult for me to agree that having a tribal Biafra nation will solve these problems overnight. Okay. If someone can explain to me why this is happening, let me just have a good explanation. Then I will say, okay, fine, I understand why. I don't know why. So that's my difficulty.
Okay, so I'll let Ukachukwu answer that. Ukachukwu?
Yes, Douglas, Ike, my brother, I want to help you understand fully. because you mentioned important things here. But look, it's a very simple thing. They say they give a dog a bad name in order to hang it. But before then, I want to clear something. You say Biafra. Biafra is not a tribal nation. It's not. But you know, there's a lot of propaganda coming on in order to puncture the argument. Whatever Biafra is, the time for Biafra has come because Nigeria has failed as a country. Any house that doesn't stand on a good foundation cannot stand. I want you to make a reference to the Wilkinson committee, in which the Eastern region, they try to partition the Eastern region and trying to create tribes, even Igbos denying they are Igbos, but not going deep into that. I talked about giving a dog a bad name in order to hang it. After the Civil War, or during the Civil War, the Eastern region was partitioned in order to make Biafra not to have the cohesion. Some of our kids and kin on the fringes of Biafra, you know, most of them suffered during the Civil War. And apart from that, the divide and rule tactics of the British, they taught the Fulani that tactics. And after the war, they created a new elite. They created a new elite to be in charge. You know, suffering after the war, many things happened in Nigeria. You talk about the policies of indigenization policy that they sold all the companies that were not handy to get involved. Are you talking about the 20 pounds? These are the people that rose from the ashes of a war. And people were empowered, the likes, the saboteurs that were propped up during the march to Biafra, the likes of Asika. Most of the people you are seeing today, they are products of that sabotage heritage. There's no free and fair elections in Nigeria. When you talk about the Nigeria local government, states, on what structure was it created? Was it were the people consulted? We often talk about the constitution, the 1999 constitution. Who made the 1999 constitution? Were we ever consulted? It was a group of people just scribbled down what they call constitution and muzzle it on us to keep following. There's no free and fair election. Look at Imo State. If we are talking about the states are not doing anything, the local governments are not doing anything, are we expecting anything good from the Supreme Court governor, a contestant who took 4th position in an election, suddenly becoming a substantive governor? What do you expect from him? Because his authority, the source of his authority, comes from those who imposed him on the people. And mind you, before then, I saw all these things coming. I had talks about, I made it public, but you know, Nigeria is a very weak state. They removed the chief judge on flimsy excuses and imposed their own judge because they knew that these things were coming. And the new judge, the judge, the man they called the chief judge, now imposed the Supreme Court governor. So what do you expect? Do you expect this kind of person to roll out infrastructures? Look at what is happening in Imo State. Imo State has been turned into a war-torn area. People are being killed. I mean, if Nigeria were to go well, there wouldn't be the cry for Biafra. So Biafra is a child whose time has come. Nigeria is a failed state. Everybody knows that Nigeria is a failed state. All across the world, there are Nigerians everywhere, including my brother, Ike. Because if Nigeria were working well, he's an IT. He will be in Nigeria.
No,
he will bring his expertise down to Nigeria.
Let me clarify something here. In the first place, when it comes to the issue of the removal of the chief judge, a lot of people would look at it from a tribal position. A lot of people will look at hold on. A lot of people will look at it from a tribal sentiment. A lot of people will look at it from the position of empathy. A lot of people would also be of the opinion that it was high-handed. Now, the problem we have kept on having in a country that's as blessed as Nigeria is when we know or we can see evidence that somebody is culpable for whatever it is that the person is doing. But for one reason or the other, we decide not to be objective and then we support that person. When somebody has committed a crime, now this is my own opinion, it is not the opinion of Just Banter or from a radio, I'm just speaking for myself. Now, if a man who claims to be the chief interpreter of the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a country with, so many human beings within it, can forget to declare his assets, on what grounds would that man be able to stand to hold other people who are not declaring their own assets? That is my own, yes. So that is my own, purview of that particular issue. But I do not want us to digress. I want us to stay on topic and talk about this issue that is threatening to tear West Africa apart. Because whether we like it or not, we have to understand something. The Hausa Fulani, or rather,
let us be very straightforward. Hausas are different. Fulanis are different. Fulanis are
exactly. That's why I was correcting. That's why I was correcting myself. Now the Fulanis are about 27 million and they spread all the way.
They're the ones tearing West Africa apart, not the Biafra issue. The Fulanis are tearing West Africa apart.
I wouldn't go as far as that. We
have our fact. These are migrant sets of people that came in from Futajalon in Guinea and conquered the Hausas. The British came and saw that these guys share their ways of impoverishing their host. They fought with the British, and when they defeated, when the British defeated them in 1902, they now gave them power. Seeing that these guys, few of them, imagine a few nomadic cattle rearers can lord it over the big houses. Maybe we can give them power. They now extended that authority by merging the northern, what they call the northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria protectorate, knowing fully well that the north is very, very poor. Then the rich south, they merged them together and extended that influence of the Fulani to the south. That is what we are suffering today. That is why they are afraid of Biafra. And when Biafra comes, they are afraid that the Hausas, the indigenous, those that have, not only Hausas, there are hundreds of tribes in the north. We don't talk about it. They only talk about tribes in the south. Nigeria has 300 and something tribes. Not up to 10 ethnic nations or tribes are in the south. The rest, 300 and something, are in the north. Nobody talks about it. They always talk about one north. There's nothing like one north. If you followed issues during the time of Jonathan, if he was strong enough and finished his second tenure, you would have seen the big crack in the north. Because for the first time, Nigerians wanted to see that, okay, so the north is not really one, because there's not a one north. It's just that the British rigged election, imposed the Fulani on the entire Nigeria, and that is what we are suffering today. Look at, they want Ruga, they want Fulani settlement across. This thing is anarchy. So what we are trying to do is to protect our land. They've been killing. Who kills? Our culture, my brother is there. We abhor killing. To shed blood is not part of our culture. But you can't just keep quiet and an invader will come and take your land. The only language the Fulani listens to is violence. I mean, when you don't have any other option than to fight an invader. That is the only problem. Meanwhile, we're not calling for war. We don't want to fight. But these guys are hell bent on taking the entire Nigeria as the Fulani country. Look at them. They talk, the brag. Who doesn't? Look at the evidence. Evidence abounds. Everything is there. So this debate on chat, we just, for the sake of chat, Biafra will come. They will not stop it. Whatever anybody likes it, likes, whether they like it or not, it will come. It's there's both physical, spiritual, and economic implications on the coming of Biafra. It will come.
Ukachukwu, hold on. Now, Douglas, I will call you Douglas. You're Ike. Ike today. Ike. Now, Ukachukwu has made several points. I don't know, whether to agree with him or not. But I will ask you this: from what Ukachukwu is saying, it seems that the major angst of the Biafran agitators is the fact that they feel that they are not having adequate participation in their own development as a people. Fingers are being pointed, at this point. So from what Ukachukwu is saying now is more or less a case of they have an angst with the Fulani people because they feel the Fulani are running Nigeria. Are you of the same opinion?
Thank you very much. So I don't think that the rest of Nigeria, not just Igbo, are being treated fairly when it comes to appointments. Let's use appointments. And also when you talk about marginalization, I don't know the spectrum of marginalization. What spectrum are we talking about? Are we talking about political marginalization? Are we talking about marginalization in the schools or, but I think mostly when you talk about marginalization, it's just the politics. Politicians are, crying. We are not represented. So to me, I see it as more of politics, even though it's clear that a lot of the other groups are not well represented when it comes to appointment in the Nigerian government.
So who are you saying? Sorry, who are you inadvertently saying is not treating the other groups fairly? Is it a group of people, or is it a section of the country?
It looks like the northern part of the country is dominating dominating the when it comes to political appointment. Lately you're getting more appointments, not going to the south or to the other tribes. I don't have statistics, but based on the things I've read, I've seen, it appears to be, going in that direction, which I don't think is fair. But the only thing I don't agree, even though it's not fair. The other thing he mentioned, Ukachukwu mentioned something about the Fulanese have an agenda to run over the whole, country, including the East, and take us hostage. I have not seen any intelligence, to be able to substantiate that claim, even though I hear people say all kinds of things. I think it's a kind of, will I call it propaganda, in order to be able to get more people to, back this, agenda, whatever we're trying to get through IPOB, that their Fulanis are coming and they plan, what they have in the agenda is to destroy the whole East, take over our land and make us, almost run us over and we don't exist. I don't think that is true. If I'm able to see intelligence to support that, maybe I will, but right now I haven't seen anything to support that. So, and the other thing I don't agree with is that you must use force. You must go to battle to be able to regain your land. I don't think we are in the 21st century. I believe that if Biafra or IPOB is well organized, as we have intelligent people, we can't be able to actualize Biafra if we go about it in a non-violent way. So it's not that I disagree with the Biafra or IPOB. I only don't agree with the way that it's been approached. And the reasons behind, the reasons behind the call for people to become violent, I don't completely agree with them, because there's no evidence to show that the Fulanese have a grand plan to destroy the whole of the East, take us hostage, which is what is out there. I don't know if you've heard it, Habib. I'm sure Ukachukwu will explain, throw more light to that and give us some evidence to substantiate, that Fulanis they have a master arrangement that to wipe away the whole of the East and take our land hostage. So there's no room for that. There is no room for organized. Yeah.
Ukachukwu. Now, hold on. The Fulani have a population of roughly about 27 million. Of that 27 million, they stretch all the way from Sudan all the way to Senegal. So it's only a small proportion of the Fulani that are in Nigeria. So where exactly, or what is the evidence to back it up that the Fulani want to take over the land, in other parts of the country? Because in the first place, there's a lot of discontent over the issue of the Fulani grazing their cattle and passing through people's farms. The federal government looked at it and said, okay, let them set up Ruga. Ruga is supposed to be ranches so that they can stop the issue of this cattle being run through people's farms. Now, instead of people to look at it, no, let me finish. Instead of people to look at it from that point of view, they think it is a colonization. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, when we talk about ranches, Ruga, and this is a personal business. Why are we are we not even ashamed that in this age, in this era, we are talking about cow business? How much does cow bring into the national coffers? We should be talking about how to get to the moon, how to get to the Mars, technological advancements. My brother is an IT expert. The green economy. Are we not supposed to be talking about the green economy? Now, many countries are rolling out ideas and policies that will jettison oil and the conventional way of boosting their economy. We are here talking about cow, Ruga, and all this. I'm ashamed, to have been in a country with these people. And let me come to that. We don't want to wait for the case of what happened to the Hausas. The Hausas were deceived, in the 18th century. When Yunfa, when Gobert fell, we don't want that. Look at the Hausas. Nobody talks about the Hausas. Don't talk. Go to the north. When we talk about one north, who are the Almajiris? Who are the downtrodden in the north? You, in your own fatherland, you are as poor as a pauper. You are wretchedly poor. Go across north. It's all the Fulani. I did my youth service in Sokoto. That was the first time I went into deep north, and I saw the homeless. I was a student union leader at Nnamdi University. So I was opportuned to tour all the federal universities and state universities and colleges. I have contact across all nations in Nigeria. So in the north, the Fulani has emasculated them. And this is what they try to do in the rest. They've succeeded anyway, if not the coming of IPOB. Brothers, farms, our mothers and sisters, they can no longer go to farms. Oh, didn't you see, or haven't you been seeing that people are being hacked off, legs, heads are being butchered in the farms? People are now afraid to go to farms. Have you not seen how they rear cattle in our farms, in our backyards? Haven't you seen that? Look at the governors, those that they imposed on us. They're giving them lands for their private businesses. How many Southwest, how many Yoruba men doing business in Kano were given free land? How many TV people that are doing business that were given free land? Why must we give them free land? What is cattle going to bring to the survival of the country? We should be talking with senses. We don't want to become the Kwara Yorubas who has been emasculated. You know how the Ariana Kakamfo betrayed the Alafin, and you saw what happened. Today, the Gambaris are in charge of of Kwara. A lot. This is a Yoruba city, but the loyalty is to the Fulani. If not that the Yorubas fought seriously, the Fulani would have permeated and gone deeper when Oyo Empire fell. So let me not delve into history because I'm conversant with history, particularly that of Nigeria. So we don't want to make that mistake. And the Fulani are very, very deceptive. There's what I call the sexual jihad. Because of the peculiarity of their actions, they are now adopting what I call sexual jihad. They try to borrow what the Turks did, but they are not smart. The Fulanis are not smart. Because if the Fulanis are smart, you know, they would have fixed Nigeria. Everybody would have just shut up. Nobody would challenge them. They will take over Nigeria and emasculate all tribes smoothly by fixing the infrastructures. Go to the north. When I say sexual jihad, almost every northern family have Fulani offspring there. That is what they do.
Okay,
and
let me ask you a question. Okay.
This point is very, very important. This point is very important. This sexual jihad, that is why they control all the resources in Nigeria, because Nigeria is a very rich country. It's rich in human and material resources. So they control all the parastatals. You see all the Fulani guys in the ministries, they're controlling millions of dollars. They have access to wealth. They are now sharing our wealth. For many of our graduates, when they travel to the north, you know what happens? I don't want to say these things publicly. If you go to YouTube, I made a video on sexual jihad. They are using it to permeate into families, apart from the adoption of the Islamic system, whereby they marry underage people. And when women bear their offsprings, do you expect revolt from that? You don't do that. There are a lot of things to talk about. Go to Middle Belt. Middle Belt, every day, hundreds die. Families are massacred, pushed out of their land. They take their land and rename it. Is it what you want us to wait for in the East? We cannot do that. They said they want to dip the Quran into the Atlantic. They are not. They're going to shove it off their ass. It is not going to happen. Our generation.
Okay, Ukachukwu, hold on. Ukachukwu, hold on. Please hold on there. Now, before we started, we had a discussion, and we will try to keep this as civil as possible. Now, people have the right. Hold on. People have a right to free speech, but the free speech, what free speech is supposed to do, is supposed to give a level playing field for all parties to be able to express themselves adequately. Now, you have spoken extensively about the Fulani. Are the Fulani the problem of Nigeria?
Yes.
No. Okay. Just a yes or no. Now,
yes.
Are the Fulani okay? Okay. Are the Fulani the problem of Biafra?
They are not fully, but partly.
They are not fully, but partly.
Yes.
Okay. Now, from my own experience, yeah, we need to go on a quick commercial break, but I'll just quickly say this. From my own experience in Nigeria,
yeah,
I'm not sure if Ike can attest to that, but I'm sure you should be able to attest to what I'm about to say. You have a lot of corruption going on in Nigeria. Now, when people are sharing money in Nigeria for whatever corrupt practices that they partake in, we have noticed that there are no tribes involved. They all speak the same language when they are sharing money, especially at night.
Finish your point. I will correct you. You understand?
Especially at night. No, your correction is your own opinion.
No, it's not my own opinion. It
is your opinion. No. Hold on. It's your opinion. Hold on, because it's your. Let me tell you why I say it's your opinion. You see, in the first place, you have the Federal Character Commission, you have the Constitution, And then you now have the established 3 tiers of government, which is local government, state government, and federal government. Now, at each level, you have representatives of the peoples, the indigenous peoples all over the country. We have not seen yet where a Hausa man is a governor in any of the southwestern states. We have not seen where a man from the southwestern states is a governor or a senator in
but you have
the
seen
south.
where a fourth place gubernatorial candidate became a governor in my state.
Yeah,
but
it's
not from the southwest.
It's not. It didn't happen in all the states. It happened in one state, and we agree that it wasn't right. I mean, but it didn't happen in all the states.
Okay.
Do we have free and fair elections?
Well, let me make one point here.
Okay.
Corruption is a common denominator, and it's corruption. That common denominator, whether it's in a country called Nigeria or in a country called Biafra, is what has brought us to the level where we are. Remember, the 1966 coup. Do you know the reason why the officers, had a coup? They said it was corruption, right? And that coup, was mostly Igbo. Most of them were Igbos.
You people should stop this narrative.
No. The people who led the coup, maybe not all the people that were involved, but the people that led the coup, Zogu was an Igbo man. And during the coup, they killed the major kingpins, Ahmadu Bello, Sadwana of Sokoto, and so many other governors. Okay? And then the problem started. The killings started, based on tribal. It looked as if that coup was a tribally motivated coup. And then the killings started. And
Can I correct you?
No. Ukachukwu, let him finish. Ukachukwu, please let him finish.
When you talk, I just listen. So that killing continued until it drove us into a war. And there were so many other reasons why we went for why the war happened. Okay? And after the war, a new Nigeria was reconstituted, and we have not yet solved the problem of corruption. Everybody shares in that single enemy that is called corruption. It affects all of us, and all of us are involved in it. Whether it is Northern, whether it is Igbo, whether it is Yoruba, we are all part of the things that have continuously destroyed the fabric of this nation. So,
okay, all right.
Like I said, I always want facts. I need facts to be able to.
I'm giving you facts.
Sorry.
You talked about.
Sorry, gentlemen. We are going to take a very quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will pick up from where we left off.
I'll give him the facts, to puncture.
We'll pick up where you will have the opportunity, Ukachukwu. We'll be back shortly after this.
Okay.
Good evening, folks. If you're just joining us, you are welcome to another edition of Just Banter, a very, very interesting one at that. Tonight we're talking about the call for Biafra, the 3 sides of the coin. We have 2 very interesting gentlemen, both of them from the southeast region of Nigeria, both of them very articulate, both of them actually picking their points and trying to win over the third side, who is, in this case, myself, my humble self. I am, let's just say, a little bit bemused because Both of them are saying very, very, interesting angles to the argument. Now, Biafra is and always has been a contentious issue. It has led to a war, a civil war in Nigeria between 1967 to 1970. Over 2 million people died in that war in the southeastern region of Nigeria alone. 75% roughly of the people that died in that war were children. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this point is, regardless of how we all feel about the issue of self-determination or otherwise, war should not be something that anybody should wish for. It should be a case of agitation should be done from the perspective of trying to win hearts, not to win blood. Now, tonight we are talking to Ukachukwu Okorie. Ukachukwu is very, very vocal about the issue of IPOB. Ukachukwu speaks a lot of the time from the position of Biafra needs to happen. Also, we have Ike Moore. Ike is an IT consultant, he's a social commentator. Ike is of the opinion that things should be done peacefully. It should not necessarily have to be a case of a violent agitation. But we have seen that consistently the Nigerian state seems to have trouble in managing issues like this. Now, is the Nigerian state responsible for the level of violence that we have seen in recent times? We're going to get an answer or two by having this discussion with both Ike and Ukachukwu. Sorry, I keep mixing the two up because it seems so similar. Now, gentlemen, I'll first start with Ike because it was Ike that made the last point before we went on that quick commercial.
Thank you very much, Habib, and welcome
now,
to
Ike,
yeah.
Now, Ike, if people have a right to self-determination, like we stated from the very beginning, but a lot of people have been saying, even if you do have a right to self-determination, should it be done peacefully, or should it be done the way it was done in 1967 and it led to a war? You have elected officials at every tier of government in Nigeria. Why are the elected officials not calling for a referendum, for instance, for people to vote and say, okay, you know what? We need to have our own state of Biafra. Why don't you have elected officials doing that?
Well, to be honest with you, Habib, the situation in Nigeria calls for a radical approach to achieve whatever you want to achieve. Because like you mentioned, the political class seem to be unperturbed. I mean, there's a lot of problems in Nigeria. I mean, we sing about these things every day. And this situation we find ourselves in, now we have a strong agitation for IPOB, to separatists, I will use that word, to separate from Nigeria and from their own country, is, even though it's violent, what I don't like is that it's violent. But, knowing what the Nigerian state is, how they handle situations, I mean, you can't continue to just hang on there and look at these fraudulent politicians, continue to allow the country and people to suffer, because people are suffering. The country is continuously being, destroyed economically and otherwise. You understand? So the problem is the attitude of the ruling class in coming, forward to address these issues, because they require urgent attention. You see, there is nothing wrong in somebody asking for self-determination. I mean, based on what is going on in Nigeria, I don't expect anybody to say anything against somebody who wants to secede, because the situation in the country is not encouraging, because the ruling class or the politicians are not even, coming forward to see, let us find a way to solve this. But the only problem is, it's a very complex situation. Violence will only lead to more shedding of blood. And also, the state government or the federal government might also come in to try to say, oh, we want to maintain the sovereignty of this, and there'll be more shedding of blood, which is not going to produce any result, any real result for what we are looking for. So it's a little bit of a complex situation, because the people who are supposed to come in and we have a dialogue naturally they are not showing concern. But I think the way IPOB is doing it, maybe they will be forced to call, people to the table and have this discussion, because it seems like that's the only way this is going to happen. Because if you leave it and you leave the elite, they will keep dancing on one bed, Nigeria, and they will keep laughing, and things will continue to go worse. So I think this might just be the only way to go about it. To be honest with you, you understand what even though blood, people will die. But that may bring attention, you understand, to bring people to the table, because the more you see that all this violence and all these things happening, then you will invite people and say, because if you allow these guys, we've been with them for how many years now? And they have never shown any concern for the things happening in the country. And the country has continued to decay and, to the level where we are now. And it's really bad. What brought us out of the country is the same thing that is so many years after we left. It's even happening. Worse things are happening daily. So it's kind of complex that if you sit and go say you want to dialogue, you are playing into the hands of rattlesnakes, because that's what I call these people. They are masters of this game. They will, kind of continue in the way they've always done, manipulate. They are manipulative. They will manipulate people, settle people, destroy the whole system, and it will continue to, go downhill. So I don't think, there's a way out and of this that, a dialogue will solve, just asking government to call a conference or something like that. This violence might just be the only, I don't know, but it looks like. But I'm not surprised.
Okay. All right, Doctor. Ukachukwu. Now, a lot of people have had issues with the strategy that IPOB is using in terms of trying to call for Biafra. Now, the question is this: is there no better way, no better strategy to try to achieve the actualization of Biafra in a civil manner, without the recourse to violence?
You see, thank you for that question, but I still have to pose that question back to you, Eniola. You are a media man. What have we not done? My brother Ike said something about coming to a round table. Have they ever invited Nigerians for a round table? The 1999 constitution happened. Did we make an input to it? Who wrote the constitution? Abdul Salam Abubakar brought out, a group of Hallelujah boys, and they wrote a constitution and shoved it down our throats. And because we are in a haste to transit from military to civil rule, Nigerians took it. And where do we start? From the set up, from the foundation. I said, any house that doesn't have a good foundation cannot stand. The British, Nigeria, ab initio from day one was a company. You know about that if you search history. Top Mango there is a company. It's of their commercial interest, and they saw in Fulani people that they can share the same commercial interest, and handed them over power, rigged everything. Everything in Nigeria is rigged, is falsified, and we are here talking. We're just gallivanting, rigmaroning. The Fulanis, they don't have the Fulanis in Nigeria don't have good intention. Sorry to say about that, but we all know that. Look at what will happen today. Yes.
But Ukachukwu is Abdulsalam Abubakar. Is he Fulani? He's not Fulani.
Okay. Where is he from? Maybe you correct me. Where is he from?
Abdulsalam Abubakar is Nupe. He's from Niger State. He's Nupe.
Okay. When you look at when the Fulani conquered the Hausa, which who are the majority in that area, they spread the conquests all around. Today, who do they fight with? Fulanis are very few. Their foot soldiers are these people. They have propped up. They cannot do anything. Even they have foot soldiers in the south. They have foot soldiers among the governors. Look at the governors. When they dish out policies, you will be wondering, are these people really, were they elected by the people? I don't know if you understand me.
Yes,
when
I'm
a
with
governor
you.
South or East talks, you will be wondering, is this man a governor of a state? The governor will be making anti-people policies. Look at during the lockdown, the goods that were shared, given to them by the Westerners, they went and locked it up. People went about hungry. They had to invade these warehouses. Stacks, bags of rice and food items were.
But that
And
was all
they,
over. But that was all over the country. That was all over the country, wasn't it?
so you see the kind of, when we talk about look, the leader of every organization guides the organization. His personal idiosyncrasy. That's what I believe. When you say the Nigerian system is corrupt, yes, it's corrupt because the leadership is corrupt. If the leadership is right and getting something right, every other person follow it. That is why we make law. When you obey law, when people go to prison for breaking down the law, then the man on the street will be scared. If Babangida will be sent to prison for stealing, if Abdul Salam will be sent to prison for stealing because of the fact that he wants to transit Nigeria from military to civil rule, Abdul Salam liquidated Nigeria's reserve, stole Nigeria dry, and many other. Look at, they're still doing to look at the one that is in Asara, they call Buhari, borrowing every day, is borrowing Nigeria to stupor. Are we not seeing these things? Now, going back to the coup in 1966, they say it's an Igbo coup. It wasn't an Igbo coup, but they rewrote the history in order to give.
But can you enlighten us? Can you enlighten us a bit on that?
Good, I will do that. First of all, not to go deep because it's
let's just try and make it. Let us try and make it.
They tried to forget an Igbo guy that was killed in that coup.
Who was that?
General of Nigeria. He was the one who is in charge of the armory, and he was shot by I've forgotten one of the majors. Shot him. He's an Igbo guy. Shot an Igbo guy too. Are you talking about what of Okotie, the finance minister? Okotie, if you look, is Uroboy Shekir or so. If you talk about
he's not Igbo. He's not Igbo.
Exactly. So to tell you that the Biafran issue things is not an Igbo thing, they try to give the Igbos a bad name in order to hang them. And people have been buying this rubbish. That is why we are out to readdress the issue, to correct the lies that have been told. The publication that I run, Africa World Newspaper, we have a condensed message that says, unless the hunter gives his account, the story of the hunt will always follow the hunter. That is what is happening in Nigeria.
All right. Okay, Ukachukwu, let me ask.
It was never an Igbo coup, and we are still singing that song. It should not be taken as an Igbo coup.
Okay, let me take Ike on this. Now, Ike, Ukachukwu says it's not, or it was not an Igbo coup. Let's agree with Ukachukwu for a minute. The point where we are right now is a point where the country is about to fragment, is about to implode on itself. What are elites, Igbo elites, educated Igbo elites like yourself? What are you doing to try to make sure that Nigeria does not go up in flames in this call for Biafra? Get your self-determination, but don't let it descend into a bloodbath, a war. What is the Igbo elite like yourselves? What are they doing?
Well, I would not consider. Well, if you call me an Igbo elite, I think I have another where I see the elites, the people we call the elites, the Igbo elites. These elites that you're talking about are the same people that have, benefited from Nigeria. Most of the elites, or the people with a voice, I would say, are people who have benefited from the system, and people, they don't want the system to disintegrate, to be honest with you. And they are not doing enough to be able to bring people together. I don't even know if they have a strong voice nationally to be able to make their case. And there is no, will I say, an organized elite group within the country, like the Hausa, I mean, the Yorubas, the Igbos, working together, because this thing requires actually all the groups working together and addressing this issue. The Igbo elites have benefited. Most of them don't want the system to break up. And most of them don't know how to. They don't have that zeal. You know, somebody who is comfortable, they don't have that zeal, that drive. The only reason why it appears that they are being affected now and they are saying something is because of the killing and the insecurity. And they are a little scared. But if there were no killings, no insecurity, these same people will be lounging and be having fun within this decaying, destroying system. So the elites, to be honest with you, are people who have washed their hands in debt. Will I call it debt or blood? And they are not ready to speak out. They are not ready to come and help the people who are being impacted. So it's a very complex situation, which I feel that's why I said I don't support violence. But it looks as something has to be in the way it's going for people to be afraid and say, hey, we have to do something before this thing gets out of hand. Because left to now, they will not do anything.
Now, Ukachukwu, the question I have for you is this. You have, an idea of what Biafra should look like under the circumstances. So we have seen different types of maps of what the idea of Biafra, the landmass it should occupy, and things like that. We know presently the core Igbo states occupy roughly around 400 or is it 40,000 square kilometers. Now, the maps of Biafra that we have seen, the recent ones, seem to have taken most of the South states as well as part of Biafra. And there are some people from the South who say no, South is very different from the Southeast. If we do not have the same agenda as the Southeast, so why should we be tagged along with Biafra? How do you intend to resolve that as an organization, IPOB?
Eniola, is very simple. The call for Biafra is not a call to violence. It's not a call to war. We're talking about referendum. We said, like you said, rightly said, let us sit down. Even in marriage, husband and wife sit down. Even when they talk about divorcing each other, things are breaking down. They have children, they have properties together. They have to sit down and sort it out. Even if they cannot sort it out themselves, there will be a third party to arbitrate in that respect. That is what we have always talked about in Nigeria. Nigeria is a big country, rich in resources, human and material resources. But unfortunately, people wallow in penury and poverty, and that is not what we want. We know we can do better. We know we are creative. We know their talents are abundant. We are not even talking about the resources. I wish we can just dig the whole resources, oil, and just throw it out. And let us just have humans. They can go with resources. Many countries we have traveled to in the West, they don't even have a tip of what we do have in Nigeria. Imagine, we don't have electricity in Nigeria. Do you know that if you have 24 hours electricity, Nigerians are industrial. They can drive the economy. They can power it. But the people we are talking about, they're not ready to fix that. And unfortunately, those at the helm of affairs don't want it. Do you know it's embarrassing that you as a Nigerian will be on the street of Minnesota, on the street of London or in Rome? People will be dealing with you as a Nigerian. They think you are smart, but when they look at your leadership, they will be ashamed. They'll say, is this all you have got? So you, a smart person, look at what is happening. The cows are running helter-skelter on the street of Abuja. We are here discussing about the Ruga and cow. When we need to talk about what my brother is doing, IT, how are we going to go to the orbit We are talking about technology. Many Nigerians are doing well in different parts of the world. So when we talk about Biafra, we are talking about muscling our talent together for the betterment of man. And coming to your question on South, and it's because of the system. Nigeria is a commercial company. It is a company. It's all about what they will gain. There are Igbos in Benue. There are Igbos in Kogi. You know, they keep partitioning Igbos. There are Ijos in Ondo. You know, they just want, you know, they don't want people to come together. They don't want that cohesion. But what we ask for is referendum. Let people choose. If they want to choose to stay where the Fulani will run, that is their business. If you choose to stay where Biafrans, after all, we are living in abroad. It doesn't mean I can get a visa to visit the Fulani. I have Fulani friends. My best friend in Nigeria, unfortunately, is a Fulani guy. So he has not been happy with me. He's not been happy with me. When we are student leaders, he visits me. He comes to my school. I take him around. We did student politics together. But look, what I want is the betterment of my people. If Nigeria had worked, nobody would be here talking about Biafra. If there are 24 hours electricity, if there are infrastructures, if there's equity and justice, people won't be talking about, people will be going to work, you know, people will be traveling around the world, the currency will be very strong. I mean, there will be strength. The real talk of unity and diversity will be there. But this is a country that the policy, the drive, the progress, their progress by dividing the people, by impoverishing the people, by intimidating the people. This is not what we want. And in the Biafra, which we are agitating, it is a Biafra that God comes first, because we know that once you have the fear of God, you will respect your fellow man.
Okay,
I'm not saying
Ukachukwu, let me ask this. Let me ask this before we go back to Ike. Now, you mentioned earlier, what you are asking for is a referendum.
Yes.
Now, you have two things working for you in terms of a referendum. The first is IPOB seems to have quite a large followership. Okay?
Yes.
That is one. The second is this. You have elected officials at different tiers of government in the core Igbo states, and also at the federal level, which is the House of Representatives, and at the Senate. How come you are not able to bring those representatives together, starting from the House of Assembly, and get them to pass bills asking for a referendum?
Thank you. That is a very sweet question, Eniola. But I would wish you direct it to my brother. Because he's always talking about.
I'm asking you because you are speaking right now as you are now. My belief or my understanding is that I'm speaking to IPOB. I'm speaking to IPOB, and I know that you are in a better position to tell me about that. Tell us.
Yes, I want to push a point. Eniola, you are a Nigerian. Has there been any free and fair election in Nigeria? Let us say the truth. Will Nigeria ever hold election and somebody will not die?
Oh wow, okay.
I don't know. Ike lives in the US. You know, in as much as in elections there are heated debates, and look at the kind of election Biden and Trump had.
Yeah.
You know, it's an election that if it were to be in Nigeria, thousands would die. They wouldn't even hand over. But at the end of the day, Trump still handed over. Despite everything, the allegations of forgery and things like that, he still handled. Can there be such in Nigeria? Look at Imo State, for instance. When you bring up that argument, some people still argue that the chief judge, look at the manner the chief judge came on. Look at the manner that they concluded their case, bringing about a tally that never existed, and shoved it down and removed the guy from PDP and brought in somebody who took fourth position. Is that not a shameful thing? The problem is that those running Nigeria are not ashamed, you know. And there's a proverb in my place that when you start exchanging word like a madman, what does the bystander and onlooker take you for? Another mad person.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Look at the people running Nigeria. They are mad. It's criminals. When you talk about the leaders in the assembly make laws, and these are criminals. Some of them at the turn of this this period, 1999, many 419ers, criminals, came in and took positions and became politicians, and they've been sustaining that.
Do you have any evidence to support that?
Of course, now.
That's a very strong
we have people
allegation.
like he died. He was a lawmaker. This same governor of Imo State, it's been alleged that he was a driver to Okorie. Okorie was a known 419. He was a celebrated 419er in Nigeria.
Ukachukwu.
There are many of them.
Ukachukwu, hold on.
Nigeria is the country whereby
I think Nigeria is at the point. Nigeria is at the point of breakup. Let me use that word.
so that
It's at the point of that something has to happen. If you go back in history, in some countries it was revolution, in some countries it was war. But we're not asking for war in this case. Revolution, you have to come together for there to be a revolution. We don't see everyone coming together for a revolution. So I think something has to happen. I don't know what that thing will be. Maybe it will be our own version. It will have its own name for history. But something has to happen because the elites, like you said, the representatives, they don't represent anyone.
They're criminals. Most of them are criminals. We know that. We know
like he's mentioned, we all know this. We all share in this. It's not an Igbo thing. It's not a Yoruba thing. It's not an Hausa thing. This is cut across the nation. So the masses are, a pile of, they are just, stepping on all the masses. A few people are destroying the whole system. And people are trying to join them. A few people trying to climb up and join them, to benefit from that. And once they go there and they join them, they don't care about what is happening there. So it has gotten to the point where things have decayed so much. Biafra is actually responding to that issue problem, I believe. But there has to be something has to happen because this is gone out of hand right now. It's a situation that, to be honest, without Biafra, something needs to happen to be able to correct the situation of what is going on in Nigeria.
Now, gentlemen, usually when we have such an interesting, discussion, we usually overrun our time substantially. Our producers have indicated to us that we have spent 14 minutes so far over time. And the way I'm feeling now, I feel like I could listen to Ukachukwu, both of you, especially Ukachukwu anyway, the whole night. Now, Ukachukwu, fortunately for you, I also have a background in history. So there's a lot that probably you and I will be able to share over time, in terms of ideas, perspectives, and purview when it comes to the historical, concept of Nigeria. But for tonight, I have been enlightened about several aspects of the entire IPOB issue. We have not spoken about Indigo. We have only spoken about IPOB. I wish that we had enough time to now go to the next part of the conversation, which should be about Indigo and the stance of Indigo as a whole in the call for Biafra, what it means for Indigo, what it means for Nigeria, and what it means for Africa as a whole. because a destabilized Nigeria means a destabilized Africa, more or less. The world cannot afford to see Nigeria go down the path of violence. You and I do not want to see Nigeria go down the path of violence because we don't know where it's going to touch us. Hence, everybody has to be a bit careful with what they wish for. Like I stated at the beginning of the show, the UN Charter states that the people have a right to self-determination. Indigo has a right to self-determination. IPOB has a right to try to push the agenda of self-determination and the call for Biafra. The Nigerian state also has a right to defend itself, or rather to try to defend the integrity of the country, the entity called Nigeria. Hence the two opposing sides. This conversation is far from over. Very soon, we are going to try to get both of you again to come, and then let us continue this conversation on the level of not IPOB at this point in time, but on the level of Indigo as a whole. I appreciate both of you taking out the time to join us tonight. And like I said, I didn't want this to end, but it's out of my hands at this particular point in time. Ukachukwu Okorie, thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. Ike Moore, thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. And hopefully we will continue this conversation very soon. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, heated, interested, I mean, amazing discussion. And for me, like I said, personally, I wish we could go on and on and on and on and on, and we continue this discussion. But unfortunately, producers have said, no, you can't go much further. You don't want to keep people sitting down and talking endlessly, or keep people sitting down and listening endlessly as well. Both of them cannot come up with a resolution to the issue that is on ground. They can only give their own perception on, the way forward when it comes to the issue of Biafra, secession, and then IPOB's strategy in agitating for the call for Biafra. We'd like to say a very big thank you to all of you for taking out the time to join us. And once again, we apologize for not being able to go live last weekend. We are working assiduously and trying to find a solution to being able to continuously interview guests from Nigeria in particular, irrespective of what the internet connection and all of that is. Maybe we might have to be on ground to actually do the interviews one-on-one. We don't know, but we are working on it, and we'll try our best to make sure that we continue to bring you current issues like this that are very pertinent to the survival and the prosperity of the nation state of Nigeria, or as the case may be going forward, Nigerians, and whatever else happens. We'll be watching, and I'm sure you all are watching as well. I hope the tension in the country is going to douse very soon. As usual, we always give our social messages before we go. We keep talking about the issue of rape. An issue happened not too long ago where, a lot of people, where this happened, where a celebrity or so, was caught or alleged to have molested a girl child of another quote-unquote celebrity. Please keep a very strong eye on your children. Look after them. Watch what it is that they say and what they don't say. Rape is something that devastates entire society, so we need to continuously fight against it. We need to protect our girl children. We need to protect our male children. We need to make sure that they live healthy, balanced lives. Now, happy Father's Day again. So fathers, please take an active role in the lives of your children. Try and keep an eye on your children the same way your spouses or your partners are keeping an eye on them, so that you will also be able to prevent this type of horrendous issues happening. COVID-19 is still real. If you haven't taken your jab, take it. Make sure you work on it. Try to keep safe. Still maintain a healthy distance. Still wear a face mask. Still wash your hands as often as you can. It is extremely important that we try to get back to normalcy, or near normal as the case might be, because I personally am getting bored, you know, having to restrict my movements and all that. I like to move around. I like to see people. I like to engage with people. And that is how I'm able to sit in front of you and have conversations like this with such interesting and knowledgeable people. So we do hope that, you know, COVID-19 is kicked into the backyard, as they will say in Nigeria, as quickly as possible so that we can all live our normal lives. Before we go, I saw a very unfortunate incident that happened sometime last week. A young girl was unfortunately killed in a traffic accident where a driver was on the phone, lost control of her car, and killed the poor girl whilst the girl was standing in front of her house. The matter is still ongoing. There seems to be a resolution of sorts coming on. So originally we were going to talk about that extensively earlier on in the show, but we decided to leave that out since there is a resolution coming. But we want to use this opportunity to extend our deep condolences to the mother and to her entire family on the loss of that poor young girl. Please, as much as you can, try to avoid using your mobile phone while driving. The situation could be as bad as drinking and driving because you could easily lose control of your car and innocent people could die. Thank you very much for taking our time to join us once again. You have a great night, and we will see you next week Sunday, where we will be having a very interesting guest on, and it's going to be the start of a new series. As a matter of fact, a new podcast where we'll be talking a lot about business. So yeah, I'll let the cat out of the bag. We have 2 podcasts now. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. You have a great night, and we'll see you next week on Sunday, 8 p.m. at the same time. Good night.